Yo, guys, what is up? What's going on here? Oh, man. Doing my WrestleMania 31 review. Before I get into the review, WrestleMania 31 to me, despite its lackluster build, it delivered. Um, Despite a few couple booking decisions I didn't necessarily agree with, from top to bottom, WrestleMania 31 delivered. The matches were good. They were entertaining. There was a little bit of something for everyone. Lots of shocking and surprising things going on, and it really made you. It's going to make you stay in tune for Raw tonight. And to me, my favorite WrestleManias of all time would be Mania 17, Mania 19, Mania 20, and I did like 21. WrestleMania 31, for me, I'm going to put on that list of some of those other WrestleManias as some of my favorite WrestleManias of all time because I thought WrestleMania 31 was just that darn good. First match was the ladder match for the IC title. Good opening match. Was really hoping Ambrose would come out of it. Took a bad power bomb from Luke Harper through the ladders. But Daniel Bryan came out on top and ended up winning the title. So Daniel Bryan, your new Intercontinental Champion. Um, that was cool. I think for the fans that may have wanted to see Bryan in that main event scene so bad, I could easily got compensated. I would say by him winning the IC title and a good match. The next match after that we got was Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins. Great match. Some great spots. Loved the RKO out of nowhere finish. Um, Regardless of what people say about Randy Orton, he lacks certain things or whatnot. Randy Orton to me is still, I think, one of the best wrestlers in WWE, and he and Seth Rollins put on a great match. The curb stomp fail turned into RKO out of nowhere was an awesome spot. Orton got the win there. Um, the next match we get, and by the way, I kind of like the little look to Orton had. I mean, even though he had elbow pads, we've never seen Randy Orton wear elbow pads. So if that's a new look for him, it'd be kind of cool, even for something as simple as that, wearing elbow pads. I thought it looked kind of cool. But the next match we got was Sting versus Triple H. I was kind of surprised that this match was like right after Rollins, Triple H. I mean Rollins, Orton. That it was the third opening match in the beginning of the card. Because to me, I felt the storyline between Sting and Undertaker was a bigger story than say Cena and Rusev. I would have thought they would put it just a little bit higher up on the card than what they did. But Sting looked fantastic. Seeing him on WWE TV WrestleMania was a cool moment, a nostalgic moment. Sting looked great. For a lot of those who thought Sting may wrestle in a T-shirt like he did in his last years in TNA, Sting looked great for a man of his age. The match itself was entertaining. It was fun to watch. You had the little spot with DX, which was shocking, and then NWO came out, and Shawn Michaels was there, and he interfered. Really twists and turns and little nostalgic memory lane in that match. Unfortunately, Triple H ends up beating Sting. To me, despite everything that I enjoyed leading up until the finish, I just do not see the purpose of Triple H beating Sting. It's one thing if Sting loses, but it's another thing if he loses to Triple H, and there's a reason why for that. Triple H is one of those guys that we know back in early 2000s was the guy who just murdered, former WCW top stars. He killed Booker T. He killed Goldberg. He killed Scott Steiner. He killed Kevin Nash. And now we can add Sting onto that list as well. Unfortunately, Sting was the one WCW guy, big major star. I had hoped that Triple H would not defeat, but he did. Um, so that was really unfortunate. I don't know what they're gonna do with Sting. I heard he's supposed to be He's supposed to appear tonight on Raw. We'll see. WrestleMania. What else we had? We had like a concert. Never really been big of concerts at WrestleMania. I've never been big on those. Even though I am a fan of Kid Ink, and I will be seeing him in Chicago on April 14th. I got tickets to see Kid Ink. I am a fan of him, but still, his performance was somewhat passable, I guess. I don't know, maybe because I'm a fan of his, but whatever. Divas tag match. Paige looked hot. AJ looked great. They beat the Bellas. After that, we had Rusev and John Cena for the United States title. This match was interesting. I would agree with a lot of other people. It wasn't as good as their first match at Fastlane, but I still thought it was a decent match. Nevertheless, Cena beat Rusev, your new United States champion. How long has it been since Cena won the U.S. title? It's been like, what, a decade? So, very interesting to see what they're going to do with that. And also Rusev, considering, let's face it, anyone who faces Cena, if you're a young rising superstar, long term, your momentum. So we'll see if he gets the Bray Wyatt treatment later this as days and months proceed. And Lana looked hot as hell as well. God, I love Lana. Jesus. Anyway, we got the spot with Triple H and Stephanie making like a big announcement. The Rock made a surprise appearance. Rock, shocking surprise, talked some crap to Triple H. I'm calling it right now. Rock, Triple H, WrestleMania 32. I think that's going to happen because if you remember, they did late last year sometime when Rock had came back. Rock had did a promo backstage with Triple H on SmackDown. I think Rock and Triple H are gonna do WrestleMania next year. I wouldn't mind it at all. I think it'd be great. Those two have never headlined in Mania together. But anyway, yeah, Ronda Rousey got involved. She looked hot as well. So it was a cool segment. Kind of dragged a bit, but it was still entertaining nevertheless. Next match we got was one of the matches a lot of people didn't want to see, but I wanted to see: Bray Wyatt versus Undertaker. To me, I liked this match. I thought they put on a pretty decent match. I wouldn't expect anything more or less from Undertaker because I mean the dude's like he's 50, but I don't think he's as good as a physical shape as say someone like maybe a Sting is who's gotten by 6 years. But Undertaker looked great physically. He looked better than he did, perhaps in the last 3 or 4 WrestleManias that we've seen him. Physically, he looked a little bit more healthy. He looked like he wasn't quite much like the Dead Man, but like he was kind of like a hybrid, like the Dead Man and like the American Badass, kind of. But I liked the I guess you could say I don't want to say the storytelling, but I did like this match. I did like how they were kind of playing off each other, just based off their characters, how they just play off each other. But Undertaker ends up getting the victory over Bray Wyatt, and this was another match like Sting, where I'd say, why? I don't agree with this. And to me, Undertaker was that guy that I think suited Bray Wyatt. He was that next guy. It's just the whole thing with Cena didn't turn out well for Bray Wyatt long term. I thought Undertaker was the next best choice, the next guy to pass the torch to Bray, the guy to pass the torch, excuse me, the guy to get him to that next level, and they could proceed forward. But he lost, and I find it very annoying because it's like WWE don't know what they want to do with Bray Wyatt. It's like only thing Bray Wyatt is good for is they'll build him up just to try to make him some viable threat to a more seasoned superstar like a Cena or an Undertaker. And then once he becomes a viable threat, or once they feel like he's somewhat of a viable threat to take on that bigger superstar, they have him lose. It's like, I don't understand that. It's like you're just building Bray up just to have him fail. I don't understand that. And so now it's just perceived in my mind. After this, it's perceived in my mind that WWE, they're not going to go far with Bray. They're not going to go far with Bray Wyatt. They're just going to build him up just enough to be a viable threat to a superstar, and then after that, they're going to let him lose. That's my thought now of WWE. I still love Bray Wyatt. I still think he's a phenomenal talker, character. Has a ton of untapped potential. But after 2 WrestleManias in a row, 2 big spot matches, and he loses them both, Undertaker is one I thought would have made more better sense than Cena, of him getting over. It's embedded in my mind now. WWE, they've ruined Bray Wyatt for me. So thanks, WWE. Did a great job. Then we go into the main event. Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. This was not a wrestling match. This was a brawl. Brock Lesnar manhandled Roman. And Roman took everything Brock Lesnar did. He took everything that Brock Lesnar threw at him, and he kept coming back. He didn't have much of an offense at all. Brock was dominating. The Buffett stuff made the comparison of, it was very reminiscent of John Cena from SummerSlam. Once Roman started to get some momentum, turned in his favor. He got the Superman punch like 3 or 4 times, and they hit the spear twice, but didn't capitalize. Everyone was like, okay, the wave started to turn a little bit. People started to boo Reigns already. And what did we hear? And you hear those drums, and it's Seth Rollins coming out with his Money in the Bank briefcase, and he is just booking it, gunning it down the aisle. He cashes it in. Automatically, it becomes a triple threat, which in my mind, I completely forgot about that, because normally a cash-in always happens. We're so accustomed to a cash-in happening after a championship match. I completely forgot. I'm thinking, oh, it's going to be Seth Rollins versus Brock now, but immediately they say a triple threat. So the way they booked it that way, it made it fresh. It was something new in terms of just from a Money in the Bank cash-in perspective. By it being at WrestleMania, Seth Rollins throws Roman out of the ring, hits Brock with the curb stomp. Brock still gets up, manages to get up. He tries a second attempt at the curb stomp. Brock lifts up Seth, about to get the F5. Roman Reigns spears Brock. Brock rolls out the ring. Seth gets up, takes advantage, curb stomps Roman, and his face into the man. Pins him, 1, 2, 3, your new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. My God, that was a WrestleMania moment. Seth Rollins has finally broken that glass ceiling. He is the new WWE Champion. He is now a main eventer. They've been building him up. I've always said Seth Rollins I wouldn't consider Seth Rollins a main eventer until he won that title. They were grooming him for it. He was close to getting there. But after last night, I can now say he's got that final piece to the puzzle. Seth Rollins is finally a main eventer. A birth of a new star, finally, from WWE. It took them a decade, but we finally get a new main event superstar. Shocking moment. The way they booked this whole main event was perfect, because Brock looked dominant throughout the entire thing. I mean, Brock got 4 Superman punches, 2 spears, a curb stomp, and the dude was still ticking. He had blooded up face. I mean, Brock was like the Incredible Hulk. I mean, the way they booked Brock, he still looked dominant even in losing his title. And he barely even lost it. he still look coming out strong by saying, hey, you know what? I never lost my title. You, Roman, lost my title. It's because of you that I lost my title. Because you got pinned. I never lost it. So Brock still looks strong, looks like a beast. Seth is just wow. I don't know about Roman. I really don't know about Roman. I'm a fan of Roman Reigns. I like Roman. Obviously, if Roman would have won, a majority of people would have bitched about it. Um, what do they do with Roman? I don't know. You got to figure they're going to do a Roman Seth Rollins thing. I would guess that would be your next obvious main feud going forward. I, I'll make a separate video on what is the future lies for Roman Reigns. I'll make a separate video on that. But as a whole, I thought WrestleMania 31 delivered. It was fun. Despite some things I disagree with and some of the decisions that they made. Solid main event. Solid Mania. Hell of a end to a WrestleMania. Probably one of the best. I would say this was probably the best endings to a WrestleMania I've ever seen. I will put it up there with Steve Austin turning heel. Maybe not on the same level, but I'll put it up there as one of the greatest finishes to a WrestleMania, like an Austin going heel, or the Benoit winning the world title and having this moment with Eddie Guerrero as the WWE champion. I will put this up there as one of the greatest, best endings for WrestleMania, hands down. If I was to rate WrestleMania from 1 through 10, I give it like a 8.75 or a 9. I liked it that much. Definitely one of my favorite Manias of all time. Definitely worth a purchase. I will buy this on DVD when it comes out. You guys let me know what you think about WrestleMania 17, what you like or dislike about it, or your thoughts in the box below. Subscribe, comment. Peace.